So it sounded like a great idea at first. I mean, what could be better than going into business with your friend? But now it's sadly gone south. If your best friend is also your business partner and things aren't going that well, you should know that it can work, but there is some crucial preparation and answers to key questions that you'll want to know going into it. So today, I'm going to share some of my best advice on how to navigate the common struggle of having a best friend or really good friend as your close business partner. So be sure to stick to the end, and I'll share a story of one of my favorite examples of a friendship business relationship that got salvaged. I'm Bob Bordone. I'm a senior fellow at Harvard Law School. I'm the founder and former director of Harvard Law School's Negotiation and Mediation clinical program. I taught negotiation, conflict resolution, mediation, and many other courses at Harvard Law School for more than 2 decades, and I'm a founder and principal of the Cambridge Negotiation Institute. Okay, so let me start by suggesting to you that it's really important if you find yourself stuck in a business friendship relationship gone sour, that you just don't beat yourself up. This is a very, very common thing. So a big part of the work I do is working with businesses where the relationship between the owners has gone south, at least in part because the substantive issues of the business are getting conflated with issues in the relationship or the friendship. So if you're in this pickle, you are not alone. It's common, and there is a path out. And this leads to my second important point, is that it's really important to be forward-looking, meaning that if you're trying to reconcile all of the hurts or misunderstandings of the past, it's going to be very hard to make this work. But if you can identify what are the challenges in the relationship and what are the challenges in the business, and then work forward, this is the best way to actually heal and make things work. So one of the things I want to say here is every single relationship, whether it is a friendship, whether it is a marriage, whether it is with your son or your daughter or your cousin, every single relationship has conflict. And so if you're finding yourself in conflict with your business partner who is also your friend, that is normal. It is okay. So my next tip here is that it's really important to separate the relationship issues from the substantive ones. So when friends go into business together, part of what's exciting about it is that you already have typically a basis of rapport, a basis of trust, a history of fun together. And of course, business is challenging. There are decisions to be made around budgets, on marketing, on hiring, on retention. And each of those are incredibly challenging and can put some pressure on the relationship. But when things get stuck, it could be very easy to conflate the relationship issues with the substantive ones. So what I want to suggest is if you're finding yourself stuck, first, you really need to diagnose what is going on. For example, are the reasons why you're getting stuck related to communication? Perhaps you're not talking about the business issues frequently enough. Perhaps when you have differences, one or both of you are being indirect with each other. So a second diagnosis might be not so much around the communication, but around personal styles. So what do I mean by that? Well, for some people, their tendency in the face of conflict is to be quite direct. They handle things head on. Others are more avoidant. Others might be compromisers. And so part of what might be going on now that you're experiencing conflict in this business context is less about the infrequency of communication and more about the way each of you handles conflict and a personal style issue. A third possible reason might be around the way each of you set boundaries. For some people, business is business and personal is personal. And for others, it bleeds into each other. So some years ago, I worked with a small nonprofit where one of the rich parts of this organization was that the people who worked there were like family to each other. They hung out all the time. They went out on weekends. People were each other's, godparents to their kids, and it was really sweet to see. Frankly, it was also part of the problem, because as the organization was growing, there weren't personal boundary issues, and there was a lack of professionalism when conflict issues did come up. Another possible reason for the conflict might be less related to either communication frequency or conflict styles or boundary issues, but really around some of the ways you've structured the business. For example, if you have not had clear conversations around roles and responsibilities and decision making, or if the way you have set up the decision making is such that you always have a deadlock situation. So once you have done this diagnostic work, right, and it might be all of the above or none of the things I've suggested, but that then helps you move to this next step, which is really taking some time out and asking yourself, what are your own goals here? Meaning, how important is this to you to work out the relationship issues and the substantive issues and continue the business? So I would call this reconciliation around both business and relationship. Or alternately, how important is it to you perhaps to preserve the friendship and let the business go, or vice versa? And that might mean some kind of divorce. If you just panicked because you heard me say divorce, I want you to just stop and take a breath.
Shut your eyes, take a deep breath. Oh, you've gone all quiet.
The reality is that at times, divorce is the right answer. Just like in a marriage, sometimes divorce is the best way to go for a whole bunch of reasons. It actually is a way to preserve the good parts of the relationship. It is a way to preserve the thing you have built together, whether it is, in this case, a business, or maybe in another case, your family. And here's something that I really want to stress. Divorce can be done in a problem-solving, trusting, and relationship-building way. The diagnostic work that I suggested earlier, understanding, is it about communication issues, or boundary styles, or structural issues, helps you understand what is actually possible to work on. When you then think about what your goals are, it helps you assess, do you want to put in the effort to make that happen? Now, the thing I haven't talked about is, where is your business partner on this? Because you need to have some kind of alignment on that. But what I would suggest is, first of all, have them watch this video too. And hopefully this creates an opportunity for you to each have a genuine and real conversation about, are your goals aligned? Have you diagnosed together well the source of the problem? And then where do you want to move together? So let me share with you this example from some years ago where essentially two owners of a small, closely held corporation came to me. They had met each other at an industry conference and over time became quite good friends. And then they finally decided to start a business together. And without going into a lot of detail, one of them was an expert in the industry. The other had some experience running businesses generally and capital, but not particular expertise in the industry. Now, 6 years into the company, they were in a lot of conflict. The person with the industry expertise felt like his expertise was never really valued for what it was. The person with the money and the business operational sense felt like they weren't respected for any of their ideas in the industry, and they were stuck. What we ended up doing is a lot of diagnostic work together, and we identified a number of problems that both of them agreed they had. First, neither of these two people, wonderful as they were, had particularly strong conflict handling skills in general, both with respect to each other and in their lives, which made things hard. Second, the way they were structured meant that they had very infrequent in-person meetings. Those meetings usually came at moments of crisis and conflict, and they had not invested the time and energy they needed to do rapport building work. What we also discovered is for both of them, the decision to go into business together was something that really represented a real career pivot and was deeply meaningful in an identity-based way. Because there was very clear alignment and a sense that the issues, particularly around conflict handling skills and structure and timing and frequency of meetings, could be addressed, over a 6-month period, we worked on that. That actually involved both of them attending a class that I taught on difficult conversations and influence and persuasion, and individual coaching with each of them and some group sessions. In addition, we did more strategic work to make sure that they met more frequently, and when needed, when there was a real crisis, that a facilitator was brought in to help them have the meeting. While not every friendship business partnership ends in this happy way, I will say that if you do the diagnostic work, it helps you make good decisions about how to move forward. So, to review our points, first, if you're watching this because you're in a really bad spot with a business partner who's also a friend, you're not alone. Be gentle on yourself. Second, you want to be forward-looking. You want to be diagnostic. Separate the relationship issues from the substantive ones. Third, consider what are your own goals and aspirations here. And then, based on that, enter a conversation with your business partner, speaking from your own perspective and framing the situation as a shared and joint problem. Together, try to diagnose, do you want to work toward reconciliation, or do you want to work toward a problem-solving and constructive divorce that will help you preserve the parts of the business and the friendship that are most valuable to you? So, have you had conflict with a business partner who's also a friend? Share your comments on how you worked it out, or maybe how you're still stuck. And before you go, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, and ring the bell so you'll never miss new videos with tools like this. So, if you could use more tools on how to be effective in business, watch this next video, which is The Art of Persuasion and Relationship Building for Professional Success. Okay, it's not difficult to keep watching. Click, click.